Welcome everybody to the fifth of our webinars where we introduce you to organizations in our local business and tech ecosystem that have services that you might be interested in, might help you in compiling your action plans or help you in the future with whatever aspect you need or are working on. And this week we're joined by Sarah Stanley from the Management School at the University of Sheffield, who's going to give us a summary of what the university can offer to small businesses and the kind of work that they do and the kind of companies that they work with. So I'll hand straight over to Sarah. Please share your screen, Sarah.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, thank you. And lovely to meet you all. Yeah, I'll just do the technical bit. Lovely. So yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me, Chris, and lovely to meet you all. I just wanted to say that I'll send this presentation over to Chris, obviously, to share with you all. I'm representing a couple of colleagues today. My role at the Management School is Business Partnerships Manager. I'm one of two. And my main focus is getting guest speakers for our academics, for our students, also finding research partners for our academics, and working closely with our MBA students, organising events for them. I work closely with a colleague, Rhoda Watson. I don't know if any of you have ever engaged with the Management School with regard to student projects, but she leads on our all things student projects. So I wanted to just talk to you about those firstly. Then I'm going to cover a little bit about the University of Sheffield, the Central Career Service, and how that can potentially support you. And then finally, and I think, Chris, you kindly said you'd sent the Clear Ideas workshop flyer around to everybody. I just wanted to briefly mention that in case anyone on the call might be interested. So if I move on, just in terms of the Management School, I just wanted to give you a brief flavour of the master's courses that we offer here and our undergraduate. So as you can see from the masters, we offer a full range of the management subjects. Our MBA, they're all full-time one-year courses. Our MBA students have to have at least 3 years work experience, and most of them will have 7 or 8 years plus. A lot of international students on our master's programs, but also a number of home students as well. We have a few, I'm not going to read off all those programs, but the digital marketing, business analytics, and the financial technology and innovation are new master's programs they've been developed starting in September of this year. And then we have undergraduate students who, in those 3 areas of accounting and financial management, business management, and international business, all of those students can opt, they're a 3-year program, can opt to do a year in industry. We call it an industrial placement, but also they can do short-term internships with you. And I'll pick that up when I talk more about the University of Sheffield support. So that's just to give you a flavour of the range of courses on offer and the academics that we've got here and the students coming out with master's and undergrad qualifications. These are our projects that we offer, which some of them or all may be of interest. So our MBA students have 2 challenge modules, we call them. So the first one is the Marketing Consultancy Challenge. The only thing with our projects that I'll say at the beginning is they're very set in terms of the timetable. So they have to be, one is in semester 1, the international challenge is semester 2, and the dissertation projects at the end take place over the summer. So it might be that sometimes you really want to, say, work on a marketing strategy, but it just might not fit with the marketing consultancy challenge. However, there may be other ways that Rhoda can help you actually source a student or group of students to help you with that. So really, these projects are about bringing real life challenges to our students. Hi, Ross. I do know Ross. Bringing real life challenges to our students that will benefit them, but ultimately as well benefit your businesses in terms of bringing fresh ideas, the latest learning into your business, and perhaps ideas that you hadn't thought about. So going back to the Marketing Consultancy Challenge, small groups, probably 4 or 5 MBAs, will work with you on a marketing strategy, branding strategy, market segmentation, anything marketing related. And this runs from October to December. So in October, you would get to meet the students, give them the brief, and then you would work with them. They would do it remotely. You perhaps need to check in once every week, every 2 weeks in terms of making sure that they're on track. And then in December, they write a report, but they also do a presentation back to you as the organisation. Same thing happens in the second semester for the MBA students. They have a module called internationalization, and that's if you're looking to move into any international markets, then you can work with a small group of students again who can investigate international markets for you. If you're looking at maybe 2 different markets internationally, you can have 2 groups of students. And this runs from the February, where you initially meet the students, and again in the April, so 3 months later, they will present back to you and produce you with a report. I'll just skip the business analytics challenges for a moment because that's fairly new, but just leading on from those other challenges, all our master students, including the MBAs and now undergraduates, have the option as part of their dissertation, which takes place June to August every year, to do a project with a company. So this could be something that you have thought in any of those different disciplines, so supply chain, marketing, human resources, general management. It could be a business strategy, and I'll talk through a few examples of types of projects. Anything that you would like to do some research on that you just haven't got the time to do, or maybe haven't got the skill in-house, that's the sort of project that can be used as a dissertation project for our students. What we do is Rhoda will go out tail end of this year and ask people if they're interested in hosting a project. They do take place, as I say, June to August each year. And then you would get a report in the September, a B2B report. The June, July time is when you'd have more contact probably with the student in terms of research, setting the brief, giving them access to any data that's required, and then they just get on with it. They don't have to be in your office or anything, or many of you I'm sure probably work remotely, but it can be done remotely or in person, however you want to do it. But it covers all the management topics, and what Rhoda's really good at is if you have something, and I would just say to you, if you have an idea of some sort of research that you need to do that a student could potentially do, then to contact Rhoda. I'll be sharing her details, because it might be that it fits into one of these specific projects, or she may know of other schemes running across the university where you could get a student maybe for a shorter period of time, whatever that might be. So I suppose now that we're connected with all you guys, please use us as contacts. And even if you don't think it's for one of us, we're always happy to see if we can find someone who can help. So that is an individual project, that dissertation project. So the students have to apply, and that's what's taking place at the moment. They have to do a video interview. They fill in the application form for the top 5 projects they want. They then have to do a video interview, and then they have a competency-based interview. So we're making sure that then the best students are selected to go to the various different companies offering the projects. Obviously, the consultancy projects, they're not going to be the level of if you're going to pay for an external consultant, but there's been some really good feedback from organisations in terms of the level of information that the students have managed to find out for the companies and help the businesses. And then we've got this new program, the Business Analytics MSc, and they've also introduced a challenge module. It's a shorter challenge, and again, there's not much information at this stage, but this is more, it's just for a month in May to June, when a group of students will work with you on a business analytics, so analysing any data that you have, or it might be data that we hold at the university. Apparently we have lots of different systems. I don't know much about that, I have to admit, because it's still being developed. But again, if that's of interest, anything around business analytics, then Rhoda will be able to, as and when information comes out, keep you posted. So those are the main sort of projects. These are some examples, and the list is not exhaustive, but just to give you a kind of flavour of some of the projects that have taken place before. Again, I'm not going to read the whole list, but we're talking potentially marketing strategies, feasibility studies, internationalization strategies. So that's separate from because we only have about 4 or 5 companies that benefit from the MBA internationalization challenge. Same with the marketing challenge. So if you wanted a marketing strategy or digital social media strategy writing, then the individual student could work on that for you. They don't come, they write the strategy and they input, but they don't actually physically do the social media for you. That would be probably an internship where someone would actually be employed to do that. So a wide variety, and as I say, it's not exhaustive. I spoke to Rhoda earlier, and basically if you've got an idea of some sort of research, the likelihood is they will be able to mould it into a project. It may be strengthened by the academics get involved, because obviously there needs to be some form of academic rigour because it's a dissertation, but it doesn't have to be an academic focused piece of work. It's very much helping you as a business tackle a challenge or piece of research that you're wanting. I'm not going to read through these, but there were just a couple of testimonials that, again, they'll be on the slides that I share with Chris, but one from the marketing consultancy and internationalization. The interesting one on the internationalization was they were looking at the Japanese market for this organization, and the MBAs actually said that at this stage they recommended not entering that, even though the company was looking at doing that, a small startup. So, you know, he was impressed with the level of detail that they went into. So as I say, Rhoda is the person, and I have got some flyers of each of the challenge modules that I'll send, Chris, to you along with the presentation afterwards. But if anybody is interested in finding out more, Rhoda would be more than happy to chat with you. Even if it's not for a project until later on, you know, more than happy to chat at any time. So there are her contact details. Sorry, I'm watering on, but shall I wait for, I mean, if anyone wants to interrupt, please interrupt me, sorry. Keep going, okay. University of Sheffield then, again, I'm presenting this for my colleague Sam Trafford, who is our employer engagement officer for the Faculty of Engineering. Particularly the School of Computer Science, there's a project there which we thought you might be interested in, and then the general support if you're looking to recruit or engage with our students on a part-time, temporary, full-time basis. So this is a program called Software Hut, open to second year computer science undergraduates. There's about 250 in the cohort, and they use it as a bit of a competition. So it's a 12-week program or project, February to May each year, and January is the sort of deadline for you to submit a project. And it's basically about solving a business problem that you've got, building an app, a website, database. And the teams of the students actually decide which is their preferred project, and you may have that. What they like to do is have about 2 or 3 or 4 teams working with one client, and they have it as a bit of a competition amongst the students. There is a bit more involvement apparently at the beginning in February to sort of, you know, give the student, you present to the students in terms of your brief, etc., and some contact during the project. But then they come up with a prototype for you and give a presentation in May. So again, that might be something if you want to explore any particular software, that it might be something that they could work on for you. And there's a link in there which will come obviously with the presentation. And again, there was a testimonial from Mark who, you know, they came up with ideas that he hadn't perhaps considered. So it might just be worth considering if you're looking at developing anything to get the students involved with that, February to May each year. And then the more general support from Central Careers, we have a funded 70-hour internship, which is generally over that 2-week period over the summer, hosted by local small business, you know, SMEs, so that you would be eligible for that. There's £1,000 payment made to you to pay the student. Unfortunately, it closed on Monday, the deadline for these, but it runs every year. So if it's something you're interested in, and they would come and do a specific piece of work for you, it's just that additional resource and of no cost to yourselves. You can advertise any vacancy, whether it's part-time, an internship or a year placement or a graduate role, if you're ever at that stage looking for graduates, on our Career Connect system. And I'd also advise you perhaps to register on that anyway, because you'll get emails updating you on some of the events that are going on, or things that are like the 70-hour internship. When it's open for business, they will send out an email. They don't send them out, you know, loads of emails, but you might want to just register on Career Connect. And as small businesses within the South Yorkshire area, there's more support for you in terms of, you know, helping you write a job advert that's graduate friendly, and helping with interview screening support. Jobs fairs, I'm not too sure whether that would be necessarily of interest, depending on the size. And it's, you know, because I think they run from like sort of 10 till 2, so it's a big chunk of time out of your day. But we do have one coming up in April, which is free to attend. And then we have a big autumn careers fair in October, which runs over 3 days, aimed at obviously our students looking for part-time, full-time graduate jobs. So Sam is the colleague, as a he, Sam. He is more than happy. And if, again, I was wondering too, with the computer science link, the School of Computer Science, whether there was any links with academics in terms of research that you might be looking. I don't know, obviously, what all your businesses do, but if there was anything that you were interested in on the research side, then Sam would be the main point of contact for you to link in with the School of Computer Science. Very briefly, this is a workshop that Chris has kindly sent a flyer around for you. So Clear Ideas is a model that was created by one of my academic colleagues here from the Institute of Work Psychology, and it's all around creativity and innovation. We got some funding from SIMCA, the Skills Bank, South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority, 90% funding for a one-day workshop. Chris, did you come on it? No, you didn't. Hang on, I'm thinking of Terry. No, I'm thinking of somebody else that looks a bit like you. We ran 4 last year with the funding, and we're running 1 more just before this current funding finishes, and then we're hoping to run more later on this year. So it's £25 as opposed to 250. I'm not going to go through all this because there's rather a lot of information, but basically, if I go, it's been tested. It's a model that was developed through research, but it's got practical application. And the Clear Ideas, the IDEAS acronym is all about generating ideas, going through a step process, and then the Clear is the actual implementing those ideas and actually taking things forward. And we've had some really good feedback. So the funding from SIMCA is for SMEs in South Yorkshire, third sector organisations, and those who are self-employed rather than large organisations. Don't need to talk about that really. And then, yeah, it's on the 26th of March. The deadline for signing up is the 18th of March. You'd be more than welcome to attend. As I say, it's £25 and you can sort that out on the online. And I'm the contact for that really. And then, yes, any questions?